Devotional, Saturday, 31st of October. As mentioned yesterday, today is a UK National Day of Prayer and Fasting, and I trust that you are taking time today to do exactly that, to bring our nation, to bring our families, to bring our friends, to bring our country before the Lord in prayer. Let me then encourage you in so doing. How can all this be happening at this time in our lives? How can we respond to this pandemic? And most of all, where is God? Well, Scripture has some answers. Jesus said there will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish and perplexity at the roaring and tossing of the sea. That's from Luke chapter 21 and verse 25. Natural disasters may surprise us, but they do not surprise God. The increasing frequency of natural calamities are like the birth pangs of pregnancy, indications of an impending delivery. Christians do not know when Christ will return, but we believe we will see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with great power and glory. And when these things, such as natural disasters, begin to take place, stand up and lift your heads, because your redemption is drawing near, as Luke chapter 21, verses 27 to 28 reminds us. This is the time to stand up and lift up, to lift up prayers, to lift up hope, to lift up your hearts. God is above the storm. The storm is here, but God is with us. Look ahead and chart a path to safety. Look around and see who you can help. Turn your attention away from the crisis and for a few minutes celebrate God. It does you no good to obsess yourself with your trouble. The more you stare at it, the bigger it grows. Yet the more you look to God, the quicker the problem is reduced to its proper size. This was the strategy of the psalmist. In Psalm 121, he wrote, I will lift up my eyes to the hills. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Do you see the intentionality in these words? I will lift up my eyes. Do not meditate then on the mess around us. We gain nothing by setting our eyes on the calamities, but we gain everything by setting our eyes on the Lord. And this was the lesson that Peter learned in the stormy Sea of Galilee. He was a fisherman. He knew what 10-foot waves could do to small boats. Maybe that is why he was the only one to volunteer to leave the craft. And when he saw Jesus on the water, through the storm, he cried out, Lord, if it is really you, then command me to come to you in the water. And Jesus said, come. And Peter left the boat, walked in the water to Jesus. But when Peter saw the wind and the waves, he became afraid and began to sink. He shouted, Lord, save me. As long as Peter focused on the face of Jesus, he did the impossible. Yet, when he shifted his gaze to the force of the storm, he sank like a stone. If we're sinking, then it's often because we're looking in the wrong direction. You see, God is mightier than our problems. God is the blessed controller of all things, the king over all things, and the master of all masters. If he sustains all and controls all, don't you think he has authority over this situation that we face today? Pray then, armed with the knowledge that God is in control. Face the uncertain future with conviction. Our good God in heaven is overseeing this stormy world. We may not be able to see his purpose or his plan, but the Lord of heaven is on his throne and in firm control of the universe and our lives. Look up to God who loves you. He can be trusted, not just with our present, but with our future.